I have never felt this compelled to deliver messages back to back. And like I feel like something big is happening right now in the month of July on the collective level. Like I always say, I always emphasize every collective reading is meant for the collective. So rather than the individual, obviously, I'm not talking to anyone on one. So it might not pertain to your specifics of your personal life. But generally, if you feel called to watch this video, obviously, that's probably why you're here, other than the fact that I maybe like, I invited you in to watch this video from my social media. But um, something big is happening here, and we need to talk about that. Now, not big in a sense that's here to cause a turmoil. I mean, it can, right? Because the energy is always about how we utilize that. Because there could be an external force or external effect, but depending on how we are equipped and depending on how we utilize the energy for ourselves and in our personal journey, we can receive and experience the energy a lot differently. So that being said, I believe that I'm being guided to share all these messages, and I'm kind of happy about that because I wanted to do longer videos on YouTube for a long time, but I guess something was kind of holding me back. Maybe it was that it was not time yet. I also had to kind of be equipped myself, to be the vessel for, the continuous collective messages. So I do feel upgraded enough where I can, harbor all these messages and give it back to the collective. So, um, we're in the month of July right now, and by the way, I'm not an astrologer or anything like that, but I am very much connected with the collective energy. So again, if you guys don't know who I am, you guys are welcome to go check out the links in my description. I'm a shaman, so I work on the cosmic level. But anyways, this is not about the introduction about who I am. I'm just letting you know that the way that I am tapped into the energy, it is just more than just me being connected to my immediate surroundings, because I literally serve as the vessel that is connected to the collective energy, the larger energy. So usually I will undergo something, a theme or an energetic transition or transit way before the collective does, okay? And when we're talking about the collective, we're literally talking about like the collective. So you watching this video, you are part of the collective, as am I, okay? Um, it feels like a jump cut. I mean, even yesterday, like even where I was yesterday versus today, even the energy shift feels different. Like that's why I keep saying like there seems to be a continuous collision of energy, like timelines, or again whatever your belief system is. I really want to make these videos like as down to earth as possible without being overly cryptic, because I think that people understand energy in different ways, and depending on your belief system and depending on your background, like I want these messages to be as resistant proof as possible, because I think that when people are working with certain belief systems and then they hear certain words or terminologies or concepts, it can create resistance in their consciousness that might block them from understanding what's really happening. Because at the end of the day, um, we experience our reality in a different way, but there's a lot of similarities in how we're supposed to transition through like different phases in our life. And the way we can benefit from these collective updates and the energetic updates is from our understanding of how to work with the energy. So that being said, um, it feels like there was like this sudden shift. Now, do I want to call that the tower moment for those who understand tarot language? Usually tarot, I mean, tower movement has like a negative connotation, so maybe not. But for those who actually understand the depth of the tower movement, the beauty of the tower movement, maybe you'll understand this. When there is like a sudden change, it usually is an invitation for a new beginning. Because how are we supposed to experience something different unless there is like something that shakes our entire reality up, right? And what is challenging about it is that most people are resistant to change. People are scared to change, because let's look at the way that we live our entire life. Like, I'm going to use we as a general sense, because it might not pertain to you personally, and it does not apply to me either, like, because I don't live like this. But let's look at the collectively, the way our society is structured, is that we are constantly taught that there is a structure or a system that we must abide by. Like, we're born, we go to school, we gotta go through the education systems, like we gotta get a job, we gotta go to college, like we gotta make money, we gotta get into a relationship, we gotta have kids. Like there's like they're like, once we're born into a system with these certain milestones that are placed upon us, right? So there are like societal expectations and social conditioning that's placed upon us, right? And it can be really difficult to see ourselves outside of that. Hold on, I kind of lost my train of thoughts. Where was I going with this? I think I was going with, oh, the tower moment, right? So, the way that we experience our internal disruptions or changes, or let's say that we are experiencing a tower moment, but then if we don't know how to think for ourselves, because we're always going to judging ourselves from this like external lens of like the social conditioning, like what are we supposed to be accomplishing? What are we supposed to have by this time? What are we supposed to be doing by this time, by this age, by this certain period? Like, and how, like, what is it supposed to look like, right? So we are judging ourselves from that external expectation, and therefore, even when we're experiencing this spiritual disruptions or tower moment or this internal like cravings for more, like the things that are actually feeding to our soul, that are inspiring to us, even when we receive these invitations, we are not able to fully integrate that. We're not able to fully embrace that because of this expectation that's placed upon us. Not only is this external, but when it becomes part of your consciousness, it is going to like hit you the same way it hits you from the outside. So it's the way that you also view yourself. It's really hard to get yourself out of that thinking. So what I'm trying to say here is that I want to invite you to relearn what it really means to be you. Okay. And I'm saying that very carefully because, again, we are conditioned to see ourselves in a certain way. We're conditioned to judge ourselves based on our ability to do this and that, our capacity to do X, Y, and Z, our capacity to meet the standards of the society, our capacity to like abide by the rules, our obedience, our compliance to the rules placed upon us from the external world. So you might also be judging yourself the same way, right? So I kind of want you to, especially during tower moments, okay? Let me simplify that. If you are experiencing something that is like disruptive right now internally and you can't even make sense of it, like something is happening internally, and I don't want to put word in your mouth, but like you don't know how to describe this feeling, but you know you're disturbed, like you know you're shaken, like you know you're no longer necessarily resonating with the external world, even your life. You feel dissociated from your own reality. You're having an identity crisis, like whatever it might be that you're experiencing, you're going through it, right? So I want you to ride through that. And when I say ride through it, and I talked about riding through these motion of emotions in my last video, but when I was giving a collective energy update for July 2023. But so let me get a little deeper for that. So when we're talking about writing the motions, right, we have to at least know how to write it, right? We might not be able to predict like the currents of the waves or the intensity of the waves, but we at least have to know what it means to trust the process. But then like trusting the process takes a lot more than just like letting the water swallow you, because trusting the process also has a rhythm to it. And when you don't trust yourself, you can't really trust the process, which is why it is so incredibly important for people to be connected to their own sovereignty and their own agency, aside from like what the society is telling you to be. Sorry, I have like a piece of hair on my face and it's like itching. So when you are starting to question a lot of things about your life, right? I want you to be really honest about how you really feel. How do you feel? Let's talk about that. Like let's pretend like we're in a one-on-one. Like, how do you feel right now? You tell me. When I ask this question to you, what is going through your head? You know, again, you might not know logically how to describe these feelings, but come back to the present. Sit here with me. How do you feel right now about your life? Be honest. Feel the sensations in your body. What is it? What is your body telling you? Only you would know the answer, right? Even if you don't. Sorry, I still have this freaking hair on my face. Let me see. Where is it? Oh, it's right here. Wait. Anyways, again, I don't want to influence the way that you are feeling, because again, this is not a one-on-one. This is a collective reading, but this is gonna feel very personal to you if you're meant to watch this, okay? Because again, I'm here to guide you through your own feelings, emotions, and while I'm not going to assume how you really feel, I'm going to guide you through your experiences of your own feelings. So, um, one thing that I was thinking about earlier is that most people, okay, hear me out. Most people are very afraid to admit to themselves when they're not happy. It is scary to admit that you're not happy. It's scary to admit that you don't like the way your life is going right now. When in reality, right, the way to find solutions, the way to really work things out is for you to be aware of the problem. Okay, and I do this because a problem isn't always something that is like so bad. Well, it can be, but I think because there is resistance to that what it means to have a problem in your life, people are even afraid to admit that, right? Like people are afraid to admit to themselves, oh, something doesn't feel right in my life right now, because that usually means that I have to fix it. And fixing takes its own process, right? It could also mean having to reverse a lot of things or let go of a lot of things, and people are also afraid of letting go. People are afraid of the unknown, right? So let's say there was a structure you're following, okay? This is why I was going back. This is why I was talking about the structure and the expectations that was placed upon you from the society, okay? So I want you to connect all the dots as I'm talking to you here. So once you are doing all the things the way you are supposed to, and let's say you hit this roadblock or this wall, and you feel like, holy crap, what is, hold on a second, I don't know what I'm doing, like I'm not happy. It's one thing also to be kind of like not know what, one thing to not even know what you're feeling. So let's say you're just doing the right things, the way you're supposed to, you're doing everything right the way you're supposed to, okay? And at one point, you're no longer able to suppress the feeling, that the emotion of how you really feel about your reality. So let's say you hit this wall and you start thinking, holy crap, I feel like shit. What is happening in my life right now? What am I actually doing in my life right now? And you realize you feel empty on the inside. You feel that void on the inside. You feel unfulfilled. You feel unsatisfied. And it's like scary to feel that way because you have everything right, and you, at least you thought you were doing everything the right way, but it's not. It hasn't given you that satisfaction that the society has promised you, right? Then what? Right? What choice are you going to make? Because a lot of people, most people, won't even let themselves admit that to themselves. Because what happens when you admit to yourself how you really feel? That means you really have to face that. And the thing about consciousness is that once you're made aware of something, you can't really go back. And the people who go back to, being ignorant or like pretend like they are not acknowledging, like they're not, it's usually very bad. Well, let me not use the word bad because that can mean different things. That's kind of vague, right? Most of them, you can't ignore something. Once you become aware of it, it hits you differently. It hits you differently. Like let me give you an example. Let's say you're living in in an apartment, and you thought that this is a beautiful apartment, like everything is perfect, like you're like this is a new apartment you just moved into, and all of your neighbors are like so nice. Let's say you're happy, you really like your choice of residence that you just moved into. But let's say that one day you wake up and you hear your neighbor beating on his wife, let's say. Okay? And this is the neighbor that you've been seeing for weeks, and he's very nice, very kind, he's very like smiley. So you only saw him with good impression. But one day at like 2 in the morning, which is the time that where everyone's asleep, right? You wake up, you hear him beating on his wife. Are you gonna be able to like forget that? How do you unsee that? How do you unhear that, right? So that's an example. Once you become aware of something, it's hard to pretend like you don't know. And for those who are able to pretend that they don't know, that's a different type of savage. Savage. Like that's a different type of ignorance you're applying now, because it's one thing to actually not know what's happening and therefore just accepting everything as is, but it's a whole other thing to pretend like that thing is not there. Now, if we apply the concept in different ways, right? Like I think that if you feel like it's more detrimental for your personal journey to actually admit that, like maybe, so if you report in, like what happens? Like if you report to the police, or maybe you're also scared he's gonna do something to you consequentially. So there's all these fears you have. It's like, oh, what happens if I let them know that I know this? What happens if I report? Like, do I have to move? Because let's say you really like this place. You just moved here. You really like this place. So the fact that you just found out now that you have this like possible like violent person living like right next to you, like that's scary. But then it's like he's been nothing but nice to you. So it would be a detriment for you to even act like you know something, because he has not affected you. He didn't do anything to you personally. He's been nice to you only, and he this only happened that one time at 2 in the morning. And now you make sure you take melatonin every day so you don't wake up, so that you sleep through the night, so you don't have to deal with this anymore. So I want you to like really think about what I'm saying here. It's an analogy, right? It's a very specific analogy, but this is what happens in the society. People 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 stay ignorant by choice a lot of the times. And we can even use a different example, because this has more to do with not acknowledging what is happening in our surroundings. But a lot of people also, we can kind of use the same example to talk about it from a different angle. Because you making the choice to stay in an environment that is potentially dangerous for you, because now you're putting yourself in this danger, because you actually now you saw the red flag of how this man treats a woman. But and by the way, you in this scenario is a woman, so pretend like you're a woman. And if you're already a woman, great. But if you're a man watching this and you have to pretend like you're a woman. So what does it mean for you to ignore the red flags that are now you're feeling? Because you feel unsafe now. You feel, because you've seen this monster of a man. You saw a different side to him that you didn't see before. So what are you doing to yourself by ignoring this, right? Now, if you want to get more intense, you can apply this into your own personal situation. Let's say that now you are dating someone and you have seen them turn into a monster when they're drinking or whatever, or maybe they just are like their personality switches. And let's say you've seen their ugly, monstrous side, and you choose to ignore that because you only want to think about the good side. You don't want to break up with him because he's nice to you other times when he's not angry, when he's not upset with you. So you see what I'm doing here, okay? So when you are choosing to ignore how you feel, or not just your feelings, because you're obviously responding to something. You are feeling how you feel, and your emotional states, it's a response to something. It's a response to external stimuli. So if you're ignoring how you feel, you're also ignoring your intuition, you're ignoring your discernment, you're betraying yourself, okay? You're so afraid to admit to yourself that you're not happy, that you're giving up on the chances to actually fix up something for yourself, to change your life, to initiate transformation, to release something that is not supposed to be here. And then what? Most of these people grow up and they become bitter, okay? You might be one of those people already. Are you bitter already? Like, are you kind of feeling hopeless about your life? And those people, okay, no matter how many books that you read, no matter how many like podcasts you listen to, no matter how much like self-help material that you immerse yourself in, if you're not actively making a change, your life is not going to change for you. And even as a shaman, like I do divination for clients, right? A lot of people seem to think that there is this objective reality somehow, like that like fate is objective. People think that this fate is something that's like that happens to you. Like people think that as they just live their life and go through the milestones, something's gonna happen like indefinitely, and it's like as long as you just wait around, like things are just gonna fall into your lap. When in reality, life is all about how you utilize the different energies and like opportunities. And of course there are things that are like fated, as in like you can't avoid them and they're meant to happen for you. But on the bigger scale, you're supposed to work with what's happening to you. Like that's how you create your reality, right? And it's not just always about having positive things happen to you, because life isn't always filled with positivity. There's a lot of bullshit you have to go through in life, okay? But the problem here is that nobody teaches you these things. So not only now are you working with the structure that society has placed upon you, like they brainwash you into thinking that as long as you follow this path, okay, these rules and these milestones that we give you, then you are going to be successful. When in reality, that's not it at all, right? So not only are you working with this bullshit, like illusory type of structure, but now you're also like ignoring how you feel, and therefore ignoring your opportunities to actually shift your own reality and take charge of your own reality. People don't know their power, guys. Do you know your power? But the way you access your actual power, the God power within, is not by doing the right thing that people tell you to do, or the right thing that society has told you to do, or this government is telling you to do, or system has conditioned you to do, but it's by you listening to how you really feel. How do you really feel? So these power moments that you feel occasionally, which right now I think that a lot of the collective is experiencing this, and I feel resistance here. It's like I think that you're using this feeling to question yourself, when in reality you have to question not yourself, not your worth, not your value, but you have to start questioning, what choices are you making right now? I'll give you an example. Like, I feel like there's been this massive like shakeup, and this is a very specific type of energy that I'm feeling here, but maybe you just went through like maybe you were in like a relationship, like again, this is kind of piggybacking off of like the July collective reading that I did, but it's coming to me again, so I'm going to share with you. So there was this situation that you're pouring your emotions in. Like, there was a specific goal that you had a specific vision for yourself pertaining to your emotional matters. Like, you had like a specific expectations for how this should look, how this is going to turn out. But there was like this massive shakeup recently, whether it was initiated by something external, or like maybe something happened, now it's like it changed your whole perspective over it, or like internally, like you just feel different now, like you don't feel the same, like there was either a change of heart, just something is different, like you just something's happening, okay? And like you now you're like emotionally now detaching from this thing that you have, right? But there's still like a lot of questions. It's like you're doubting yourself. You're doubting yourself. There feels to be resistance to change, resistance to honoring the unknown, resistance to the transformation that you could really take upon yourself here. So although you are dealing with how you feel, because now you can no longer run away from this emotion, because it's hitting you hard right now. It's like coming as like this attack of waves, almost as this washing you up. So you're feeling this, but as far as the way that you ride the motions, there's still resistance to it. You think that this is one of the situations where, oh, if you just ride the waves, I'm gonna be maybe over it. No, I feel like this is your time to really take it upon yourself and make it your responsibility to listen to yourself for once, and like really honor yourself. And it is okay, to embrace that major shift, especially having to do with your own emotions. It's okay to admit to yourself that you no longer feel the same about the situation, about this person. Okay? It's okay to admit to yourself that maybe I made a mistake, or okay, so I tried that, but I don't think it's working for me anymore. It's okay to admit these things to yourself, guys. Stop judging yourself from this external lens that doesn't actually exist, right? Like, that's the thing about the system, is that they don't teach you how to deal with these uncomfortable feelings, these feelings of uncertainty. They almost make you think that feeling uncertain is a bad thing, that only feeling solid, only feeling good is a good thing. When in reality, you're supposed to integrate these responses, these emotions that you have that are like rising from within. You're supposed to use that as your base to keep choosing. Okay? This is part of you seeing yourself as an actual human, sovereign, living being, as opposed to like robots that are supposed to be out here and go to work and get a job and make money and like have a business or whatever, and like, have a relationship, have kids. You're more than that. If that's what you want, go for it. But you have to continue to ask yourself, how do you really feel? And what does it mean for you to ignore how you really feel? Because no one's going to come and save you. What does it mean for you to ignore and suppress how you really feel because you think that if you just stay silent, if you just keep pushing, problems are going to go away? But here's the thing. When you cannot solve a problem unless you have admitted to yourself that you have a problem. So when you feel a red flag internally, that's a problem. But if you're not recognizing it as a problem, you're not even trying to solve anything. So again, it leads to you resisting, you suppressing, you ignoring, you being ignorant, you putting yourself in miserable situations because you're afraid of the unknown. You're afraid of what it means to admit that you have a problem in your life. You're afraid to admit to yourself that you made the wrong choice, not realizing life is infinite. As long as you keep making choices, your life keeps going. You can make new choices. You can make new directions. Your realities can shift. And of course, using different transits like planetary transits or energetic transits and external circumstances as your advantage, you can even use unfortunate situations that you face as to your advantage. As long as you keep making choices, as long as you don't stay passive, as long as you don't brush stuff under a rug, you can turn anything into your point of transformation and empowerment. It might take time, but you can turn anything, any moment of adversity, any moment of unfortunate events into your moment of rebirth. That's what I want you to realize. So right now, ask yourself, how do I really feel? What do you feel right now? Like, what are you doing? And it might be really scary because you feel different, right? You don't feel the same about this thing. And it's like, what does it mean to feel that way? You might be questioning that subconsciously even, because I know you're uncomfortable. But just hear this. You're feeling everything that you're supposed to feel. This feeling you're feeling matters. Raise that feeling you feel inside of you and rise knowing that that is how you feel, because the truth of your reality, it's built upon your feelings and your reality within. So it's not the external reality, it's not what you do that matters. It's not what you do and what you create, what you produce, what you execute that gives you the sense of like fulfillment and joy about yourself, but it's you honoring how you feel, you having that relationship with yourself. So if you're not acknowledging how you feel on the inside, and don't give me the bull crap about, oh no, I'm a man, I gotta be strong. No, shut the hell up. It doesn't matter what your gender is, because you're a human, you're a spirit. You have feelings, you have a heart, you have a soul, right? And if you feel like, well, no, I don't really give a shit. Well, then maybe this video is not for you. But I don't believe that those people have been watching this video. But I'm still speaking to people that are like, that are very resistant to tapping into their inner self, because their entire life has been about just going after something and pursuing something and producing something and making money and creating a certain thing and reaching a certain status. So for those of you who think that your feelings have been insignificant, I'm telling you right now, the way the collective energy is going, okay, you're going to become more dissatisfied over time. You're going to feel more lost, okay? Because this is no longer a time where you can just keep chasing external things. I'm telling you, there's a lot of shifts happening right now, that the way for you to get a hold of yourself and of your life is by you start going within more and being honest and being brave and being courageous. So that's the energy update right now. And I feel like this video is quite timeless, because even if you miss a period, okay, so there is a thing as, I think there's a such thing as not taking advantage of a certain time frame. But even if you did that, even if you miss out on the opportunity to change your life that one time, it doesn't mean that your life is doomed now. It might mean that now you have more responsibilities, more weight to carry. But I want you to know that every moment you feel something, that's your opportunity to do something about it. But if you're not acknowledging that as a flag or something that you have to take care of, right, there is no solution. Okay? Avoiding something is not going to take care of the problem. Pretend like it's not bothering you doesn't make the problem go away. If anything, it's going to sit there with you. It doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. Okay? So, stop running. Face how you really feel. You might not have to make decisions right away right now. Okay? Not right away anyway. But I want you to at least be honest about how you really feel. And if you don't trust your feelings because they're fleeting, and sometimes I was talking to my friend like a while ago on the phone, and I told her I don't trust shit that I think or say or feel during cancer season. And that was my truth. That was my personal truth. I'm not saying this is true for you. Like in the cancer season, usually I'm usually iffy because it's hitting my 12th house. I'm a Leo rising, so This is my moment of just exploring my unconscious, and that's okay too. It is part of my, continuous integration. So like, but I'm saying I'm not going to assume that just because I feel that way in that moment, that's like my truth, or it's my reality. No, but it is my current reality, and I'm going to take note of that. It's data for me. I gotta collect this data. I'm also not like an impulsive person when it comes to making like strong decisions. So I like to take my time, but I never ignore my feelings. I know exactly what I'm feeling. Um, so, but I do know that transient feelings are not facts. They're not necessarily something that you should act upon right away. Anyway, so if you also relate to that feeling of like, oh well, I'm a very logical person. Like I don't excuse me, I don't like to be impulsive. I'm not telling you to be impulsive. But this is about you listening to what your feelings are telling you, because everything that you feel matters. It's showing you something about yourself and the potential of your life. Okay? So, I will wrap this video up here, and I will continue to do like energy updates. But think about what I said to you in this video, and I want you to really face how you really feel. Okay? All right. Bye. Oh, and make sure you follow my socials. I will link everything in my description. But if you guys have any questions, if you want to talk to me in a one-on-one session, want to receive divination and some clear guidance, feel free to book an appointment with me, and I'll be available for you. Bye.